The rain hammered against the windows of our small apartment in Manchester, mirroring the storm raging inside me. I'm Alaric, 46, an IT specialist. My life until a few weeks ago had been a comfortable, predictable rhythm of work, home, and weekends with my wife, Bronte. We'd been together for 18 years, married for 15. I thought I knew her, every curve of her smile, every nuance of her voice. It started subtly. Bronte, a librarian, began working late more often. Stock-taking, she'd say, her eyes flitting away from mine. I didn't think much of it at first. Work was work. But then came the secretive phone calls, hushed conversations in the hallway when she thought I was asleep. The scent of a perfume I didn't recognize lingered on her clothes. I tried to dismiss my growing unease. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe I was just tired. One Saturday, Bronte told me she was going to a book fair in Leeds. "It's a big one," she said, "lots of rare editions." I might be late back. I kissed her goodbye, feeling a pang of something I couldn't quite name. After she left, I tried to settle down with a book, but I couldn't concentrate. The feeling persisted, a gnawing sense of wrongness. I decided to surprise her. I'd drive to Leeds, meet her for lunch, and we could spend the afternoon together. Spontaneity, I thought, was good for a marriage. The drive was uneventful, the Yorkshire countryside passing in a blur. When I arrived at the book fair, I searched for Bronte, scanning the crowded aisles. I called her phone, but it went straight to voicemail. She's probably just busy, I told myself, trying to quell the anxiety rising in my chest. After an hour of fruitless searching, I decided to check the nearby cafes. Maybe she'd stopped for a coffee. I found her at a small Italian restaurant a few blocks away. She was sitting at a table, laughing, her face flushed. But she wasn't alone. Across from her sat a man I'd never seen before. He was younger, maybe early 30s, with a cocky grin and eyes that lingered too long on Bronte's face. They were holding hands across the table. My world tilted on its axis. I stood there, frozen, unable to move or speak. The blood drained from my face, leaving me cold and numb. Bronte looked up and saw me. Her eyes widened in horror. The color drained from her face, mirroring my own shock. "Alaric," she stammered, pulling her hand away from the man. "What are you doing here?" "I thought I'd surprise you," I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. "But I see I am the one who got the surprise." The man, whose name I later learned was Ignatius, smirked. "Looks like you've been caught, darling," he said, his voice dripping with arrogance. Bronte's face crumpled. "Alaric, please, it's not what you think, isn't it?" I said, my voice rising. "Because it looks exactly like my wife is having an affair with some boy." "He's not a boy," Bronte snapped, then immediately regretted it. "Alaric, please, let's talk about this somewhere else." "There's nothing to talk about," I said, my voice shaking with rage. "I saw you. I saw you holding his hand, laughing with him. I saw the way you looked at him. Don't insult my intelligence by trying to deny it." I turned and walked away, blind with fury and pain. I didn't hear Bronte call after me. I didn't see Ignatius' smug expression. All I could see was the image of my wife holding another man's hand, the woman I had loved and trusted more than anyone else in the world. The drive back to Manchester was a blur of tears and recriminations. How could she do this to me? After all these years, after all the love and commitment, how could she betray me like this? I replayed every moment of our marriage in my head, searching for clues I had missed, signs I had ignored. Was I so blind, so stupid? When I got home, I went straight to the bedroom and started packing. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I couldn't stay there, not for another minute. Bronte arrived an hour later, her face streaked with tears. "Alaric, please listen to me," she begged. "It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything, a mistake," I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "Holding hands, laughing, looking at him like that. That doesn't sound like a mistake to me. That sounds like a deliberate act of betrayal." "I was lonely," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "You've been so busy with work lately. I felt like you didn't even see me anymore. Lonely," I said, my voice rising again. "I've been working hard to provide for us, to give us a good life. And this is how you repay me. By sleeping with another man. It only happened a few times," she said, her eyes pleading. "Please, Alaric, I am so sorry. I love you. I don't want to lose you." "You should have thought about that before you decided to cheat on me," I said, my voice cold and hard. "As far as I am concerned, you lost me the moment you touched him." I finished packing my bag and walked out the door, leaving Bronte sobbing in the bedroom. I didn't look back. I spent the next few weeks in a haze of grief and anger. I stayed at a cheap hotel, unable to face the thought of returning to our apartment. I called in sick to work, unable to focus on anything. I ate junk food and drank too much trying to numb the pain. I couldn't sleep, haunted by images of Bronte with Ignatius. My friends, Cadman and Leif, tried to be supportive, but I pushed them away. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want their pity. I just wanted to be left alone to wallow in my misery. One evening, Cadman showed up at my hotel room, uninvited. He brought a bottle of whiskey and a determined look on his face. "You can't keep doing this to yourself, Alaric," he said, pushing the bottle into my hand. "You need to talk about it. You need to let it out." I resisted at first, but Cadman persisted. He sat there, patiently listening as I poured out my heart, telling him everything that had happened. He didn't interrupt, didn't offer platitudes. He just listened. When I was finished, he poured me a glass of whiskey. "She's not worth it, Alaric," he said, his voice gentle but firm. "She doesn't deserve you. You're a good man, a kind man. You deserve someone who will appreciate you, someone who will be loyal to you." His words struck a chord. Maybe he was right. Maybe I was wasting my time and energy on someone who didn't deserve it. Maybe it was time to move on. I started seeing a therapist. It helped to talk to someone who was objective, someone who could help me process my emotions and develop coping strategies. I started exercising again, trying to get back in shape. I reconnected with old friends and made new ones. Slowly, gradually, I began to heal. Meanwhile, Bronte tried to contact me, calling and texting me constantly. I ignored her calls and deleted her messages. I wasn't ready to talk to her. I wasn't sure I ever would be. One day, I received a letter from Bronte's sister, Eamon. It was a long, rambling letter, filled with apologies and explanations. She said that Bronte was devastated by what had happened, that she regretted her actions more than anything in the world. She said that Ignatius had been manipulating her, that he had preyed on her insecurities and vulnerabilities. She begged me to forgive her. I was unmoved. I didn't care about her excuses. I didn't care about Ignatius' manipulations. All I knew was that Bronte had betrayed me and that I could never trust her again. I decided to file for divorce. It was a difficult and painful process, but I knew it was the right thing to do. I couldn't spend the rest of my life with someone I didn't trust, someone who had broken my heart so completely. The divorce was finalized a few months later. I moved out of our apartment and found a small house in a different neighborhood. I started a new job, a new life. I was still sad, still angry, but I was also determined to move on, to find happiness again. One evening a few years later, I was at a local pub having a drink with Cadman. He nudged me and nodded towards the door. "Look who's here," he said, his voice low. I turned and saw Bronte. She looked older, worn down. She was alone. She saw me and walked over to our table. "Alaric," she said, her voice hesitant. "Can I talk to you for a minute?" I hesitated, then nodded. "Of course." We went outside and stood in the street, the noise of the pub fading behind us. "I just wanted to say that I am sorry," she said, her eyes filled with tears. "I know it doesn't mean much, but I truly am sorry for what I did. I ruined everything. It's too late for apologies, Bronte," I said, my voice flat. "You made your choice. You have to live with the consequences." "I know," she said, wiping her eyes. "I just wanted you to know that I understand. I understand that I hurt you, that I broke your trust. And I understand that you can never forgive me." She paused, then took a deep breath. "Ignatius left me," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "He left me for someone younger, someone prettier. He used me, Alaric, just like Eamon said." I felt a flicker of something, a brief moment of satisfaction, but it quickly faded. Her pain didn't bring me joy. It just reminded me of my own. "I'm sorry, Bronte," I said, my voice softening slightly. "I truly am, but there's nothing I can do. We can't go back. We can't undo what happened." "I know," she said, nodding. "I just wanted you to know that I'm not happy. I'm not happy without you. Maybe you'll find happiness someday," I said, my voice gentle. "But it won't be with me." I turned and walked away, leaving Bronte standing alone in the street. I didn't look back. I never saw her again. I heard through mutual friends that she was still struggling, still trying to pick up the pieces of her life. I felt a pang of sympathy, but I didn't regret my decision. I had made the right choice. I had chosen myself, my own happiness. I eventually found love again with a woman named Saoirse. She was kind, intelligent, and loyal. She appreciated me for who I was, and she never gave me any reason to doubt her. We built a life together, a life filled with love, laughter, and trust. I learned a valuable lesson from my experience with Bronte. I learned that trust is precious, that it can be broken in an instant, and that it can never be fully repaired. I learned that forgiveness is possible, but that it doesn't always mean reconciliation. And I learned that, ultimately, you have to choose yourself, your own happiness, even if it means letting go of someone you once loved. The rain outside has stopped now, and the sun is beginning to peek through the clouds. I look out the window at the city stretching out before me, and I feel a sense of peace. The storm has passed. I have survived, and I am stronger for it.